And now, ladies and gentlemen, please rise, and gentlemen, please remove your hats for tonight's invocation and national anthem. For tonight's invocation, I will hand it over to Mid-Vid owner Craig Mishler.
Shall we pray? Dear Heavenly Father, we do thank you for such a beautiful day that you've blessed us with. We ask you to please watch over us all tonight here at the racetrack. We ask you to please be with the drivers, the pit crews, the track officials, and we just ask you, Lord Jesus, for a safe trip home later this evening. It's in your name we pray. Amen.
And doing the flag tonight, the 16M of Mike McDonald. And again, good evening and welcome to Midvale Speedway, night of Guest Motors. The 28 of Waylon Orr from New Philadelphia, Ohio. The 44 back in the car tonight from Canton, Ohio, of Larry Smith. The 21, current point leader of Colton Ritchie. And the 3, tonight's top qualifier, second points. The 3 of Kyle Grove, green flag. 8 laps of distance, first heat for the JD Byron Street Stocks. Looking for the green flag off of turn number 4. Green flag is out for Passwaters and Orr. Orr using the outside. He's going to pull to the advantage by at least a little bit off of turn number 2. He's still trying to close down the door on the 75 of Passwater Seniors as they're still side by side is right now. Orr using the outside. He looks to have cleared Senior in through 1 and 2. Doesn't off of turn number 2. Still side by side. S. Smith and Ritchie still side by side there. Passwater Senior, he's pulling into a couple car lengths as Orr. He's stepping back on the outside lane. Ritchie, he's stuck on the outside lane. He's trying to get to the inside. As Smith and Passwaters, they make contact off of turn number 2. Ritchie still on the outside. As Passwaters, he's leading at the line as Orr and Smith still battling there for second. With Ritchie and Grove, 2-point battlers, they're battling for 4th and 5th. As Ritchie gets into the back bumper, just a little bit of Orr. 4 in, 4 to go. Ritchie, he's now going to go to the inside. Orr was backtracking a little bit on the outside. As Passwater Senior's opening up the bottom, 44 for Smith has to brake check going in. The 3 of Grove, he has to back out. Passwaters, he's sliding way up the track, and he's going to try to close the door on Smith. Smith going to have at least good car length, and going into turn number 1 off of 2 Smith, going to be your new leader. He's going to have Grove following. Grove now also there battling for second with Grove and Passwaters. Ritchie, he's trying all he can. Points are points in the heat race as it's a good point battle there with Grove and Ritchie. As Orr, he's going to shut the door on Ritchie. He's going to now go to the inside. As Grove now there in second, he's going to look to the outside. White flag, 1 lap to go for Larry Smith as Kyle Grove to the outside. Battle for the lead with Grove and Smith. Smith's going to go up the track. He's going to try and hold off Grove. Still side by side. Off of 4, Smith getting a little sideways to the checkered. Your winner is the 44 of Larry Smith by just mere inches over the 3 of Kyle Grove. And pulling to the line in the 44 from Canton, Ohio, the Stewart's Flooring, Joe's Auto Service. Applying some more, give a hand to your winner, Larry Smith. As we're going to go green off of turn number 4. With Lewis and Barker. Going to look for the green flag from Chief Starter Terry Coletti, and the green is out. As Barker, he's going to get a good start going into turn number 1. And Barker will be your leader using the outside lane. Moss now to the outside of Lewis for second. Barker still on the outside. Going to close the door. Moss and Lewis making contact going into 3.
Caution's out, guys.
Going really slow. Everyone else getting anxious to go. We're going to look for the green flag. Green flag off of turn number 4. 8 lap second heat for the street stocks. As Barker still using the outside, he's going to pull into the lead from the 39 of Lewis. Moss, a couple laps ago. Well, in the last start, he was going to the outside of Lewis, but now he's not. He's falling back as Passwaters Jr.'s just following in behind Lewis as Barker is your leader. They're battling with third between Passwaters Jr. and Josh Moss. As Moss is on the outside, Passwaters on the inside, and they're still battling for third as Barker is still your leader. He's on 3 wheels. As Barker looking to be running on 3 wheels instead of all 4. As Passwaters Jr. and Josh Moss finally getting around Lewis for second as Passwaters now moves up to second. And Moss up to third, and at the halfway point, 4 in, 4 to go for Barker. Passwaters Jr., Moss, and Lewis as they get together down on the front straightaway. And Lewis, he's going to keep it going. And rounding out the field, the 22 of Wood. As Passwaters, he's starting to pressure the 11 of Barker. Barker opens up the bottom. Passwaters Jr. looking to the inside. Now it's going to be a battle there for the lead. Side by side for the lead going into 3. Passwaters on the inside. Barker on the outside. Off of 4. New leader at the line is Passwaters Jr. As Barker still seems to have some problems gone wrong with the 11. As black flag coming out for the 77 of Josh Moss. And white flag, 1 lap to go for Passwaters Jr. And off of turn 4 to the checker flag, your winner, the 74 of Bob Passwaters Jr. Second to TJ Barker. Third to the 39 of Brian Lewis Sr. And fourth, the 22 of Kylie Wood. The 32 rounding out the field, Keith Anderson going green off of turn number 4. Green flag is out for Bedard and Jayberg. Jayberg getting a good start going into turn number 1. Good field of mini trucks. I think has to be the most mini trucks we've had here to the 2015 season. As Squires and all of them getting contact going into turn number 3. And caution flag is coming out. Leinard gonna look for the green flag off turn number 4. Green flag is in the air for Bernard and Jayberg. Jayberg still getting a good start. He's gonna close the door going into turn number 1. Jayberg, your leader. As Bernard opens up the inside for Squires as Orr. He's battling there on the outside as they're going 4 wide into 3. And Leinard, he's gonna dive it in underneath of Cordia going into 3. He's gonna pass 2 trucks at once as Orr still stuck on the outside. Orr now getting pressure from the 72 of Cordia. Cordia and Orr battling. Now Leinert. He's going to look to the inside of Squires there for second as they're battling. Going into 3, Leinert. He's going to take over the top spot as Orr. He's now going to still battle with Cordia there as Squires and Cordia, they make a little contact off of turn number 4. Trying to keep the 4 of Squires going and not. The caution flag will be coming out.
Caution's out.
Last couple of weeks, he's improving and improving week after week. And Jayberg and Leinert, they're going to be battling for the lead. Jayberg on the inside, Leinert on the outside. Jayberg, he's still going to keep at least a good half a front of a truck lead on Leinert, and off of 4, Leinert will be your new leader, with Jayberg in second, Cordia in third, and Orr running in fourth. As Cordia now looking to the outside of Jayberg for the second spot. Now battle for second between Jayberg and Derek Cordia as they are side by side. Going into turn number 3 at the line, 4 in, 4 to go for Joe Leinert. And at the line, taking over second would be Cody Jayberg, still by mere inches over the 72 of Derek Cordia. Waylon Orr fourth, and Chad Squires, your top 5, is still there battling for second between Jayberg and Cordia. Jayberg not giving up on the inside. He's not giving up, putting on pressure on Cordia. Cordia trying to close the door. Jayberg going to slide up just a little bit, making a little contact with the rear quarter panel of Cordia off of turn number 2. Cordia will take over second, or looked, or backed out of it, coming off of turn number 2 that time by and off of 4, white flag, 1 lap to go for the 82 of Joe Leinert as he has about a straightaway on the 72 of Derek Cordia. Cody Jayberg third, and Waylon Orr fourth. And off of turn number 4 to the checker flag, your winner, the 82 of Joe Leinert. Second to Derek Cordia. Third to Cody Jayberg, fourth to Waylon Orr, and fifth to Chad Squires. And again, spectator drag sign-ups up as we have.
Yeah, ask him if he don't count.
And again, congratulations to your winner, the 82 of Joe Leinert. Starting on the front row, Tim Frederick, Lisa Moore, Britt Van Meter, Clayton Oliver, Blaine Salisbury, Gage Jayberg, Kyle Finlayson, Wes Ennis, 8 laps, first heat. Green flag is in the air. Still good side-by-side up front between Frederick and Moore, as Moore not giving up on the outside. Frederick not giving up on the inside. Still good side-by-side. Van Meter getting a little loose there in the middle of 3 and 4. Oliver, he checked up, he slid back just a little bit. As Salisbury, he's running the inside. He's going to look for the 4th spot as there's battle for 4th. Salisbury and Oliver as they're battling. Oliver not giving up on the outside. They're still side-by-side. Moore and Frederick not giving up front. Moore, she's going to close in. She's going to go back down to the inside. Now battle for 4th between Salisbury and Oliver. Salisbury had a brake check going into turn number 1. Oliver got a good run on the outside. He tried to close in on Van Meter. Van Meter and Oliver, they're battling. Not much longer as Van Meter slides up. Salisbury now looks to the inside. As Salisbury and Oliver battling for 4th. Oliver diving it in deep, going into the turns, trying to get a good run on the outside. 4 and 4 to go for Tim Frederick, Lisa Moore, Britt Van Meter, Blaine Salisbury, and Clayton Oliver. Your top 5 with Kyle Finlayson in 6th, Wes Ennis 7th, and 8th, Gage Jayberg. Still good side-by-side racing for that 4th spot as Frederick trying to hold off more. And so far, he's doing so as Van Meter trying to get around more, trying to loosen her up and have her go to the outside. Van Meter, he's going to slide up as they're 3 wide down the front straightaway for 3rd. As Salisbury to the inside, and then it's Van Meter and Oliver to the outside. Van Meter follows back Salisbury. He's going to pull into 3rd, coming off of turn number 2 is Van Meter and Oliver battling for 4th and white flag. 1 lap to go for the 18 of Tim Frederick. And so far, they're still side by side for the 4th spot with Van Meter and Oliver. And to the checkered flag, your winner, the 18 of Tim Frederick. 2nd to Lisa Moore. 3rd to Blaine Salisbury. 4th to Clayton Oliver. And 5th to Britt Van Meter. And pulling to the line from Barnhill, Ohio, the Leggett's Tire. Your winner, the 18, give a hand to Tim Frederick. Going to come green this time by 8 laps. 2nd heat for the compacts. As Keller and McDonald going to bring it in for the green flag. Green flag is in the air for Keller and McDonald. As Schreffler, he looked to make it 3 wide on Bucky going into turn number 1 as Larry Ennis Jr., he's going to get shuffled back as Clark gets into the back bumper of him just a little bit off of turn number 2 as they're battling through 3 and 4. It's Keller and McDonald still battling with Bucky. He's sitting there in 3rd as he's running the inside. As Bucky now going to the inside of McDonald for 2nd. Battle there for 2nd between McDonald and Dan Bucky. As Bucky will take over the 2nd spot. Now McDonald stuck on the outside lane. Inside lane's moving forward as Brent Schreffler. He's now looking to the inside. As Alan Clark is sitting right behind him, he's also going to follow in behind Schreffler. Give Schreffler just a little push. Bucky opening up the bottom just a little bit for the 24 of Schreffler going into turn number 1. Schreffler has to check up. He's hitting the back bumper of Bucky just a little bit. Now Clark on the back bumper of Schreffler. As the 46 of Christian Bailey, he's now going to look to the inside as Clark's going to spin it up in turn number 4. And caution flag coming out for the 169 of Alan Clark. Alan Clark spinning out all on his own up in turn number 4. As Keller, Bucky, Schreffler, McDonald, and Bailey, your top 5. Going to look for the green flag with Larry Ennis Jr. and Clark. Green flag is in the air for Keller and Bucky. Keller getting a good start going into turn number 1. Bucky not giving up, fighting there for the lead is Schreffler. He's now going to look to the inside as they're sliding up. Schreffler has to back out going into turn number 3. Bailey, he had to put on his brakes in the middle of 3. As Clark now battling with Bailey. As still Bucky and Keller battling up front with Schreffler still poking his nose into the inside. Still battling up front and at the line, Clark. Bucky, your leader at the line, just by inches over the 28 of Keller. With Schreffler, he's now looking to the inside. Trying to make a 3 wide, going into 3. He's going to make contact with the 28 of Keller. Keller saves it. So does the 69 of Bucky as the 24 of Schreffler trying to make his move to the front. As Bailey now looking to the inside of Bucky as Schreffler, he's also opening up the bottom. Schreffler now looking to the outside of Keller's. White flag, 1 lap to go for Jim Keller Keller and Schreffler both battling up there. Christian Bailey in third. Bailey going to give a little push to Keller just a little bit. They're going to go 3 wide off of 4 at the line. Your winner, the 24 of Brent Schreffler, just by inches. Second, the 28 of Jim Keller Jr. Third, the 46 of Christian Bailey. Fourth, the Alan Clark. And fifth, to Dan Bucky. And give a hand to your winner, Brent Schreffler. As we're going to go green, 8 laps, final heat for the compacts with Butts and Heron on the front row. Got to look for the green flag. Green flag is in the air. As Butts and Heron both getting a good start going into turn number 1. Heron's going to pull into the lead as Butts sits in second. France now going around the outside as he's getting passed on the outside. Butts on the inside, getting passed on the outside as Corbett and Stresky all going to the outside. 30th, Heron having problems down the back straightaway as Stresky and Butts now battling for third. As Stresky making a pass, Shaleski now to the outside for fourth. As your leader at the line, the 38 of Brandon France. As the 01 of Corbett, he slows up just a little bit, so does the 17 of Stresky. The 2 of Shaleski doesn't. Shaleski uses the outside. Shaleski getting around the 01 of Corbett as the 11 of Butts getting a little woolly over there in turn 1 and 2. As Stresky now looking to the outside of Corbett for third. As a battle for third, Stresky and Corbett. Corbett has to break just a little bit. As Stresky, she's gonna go around the outside. As it's battle up front between France and Shaleski. Shaleski, he goes almost all the way up toward the wall. Off of turn number 4. As Stresky, she's starting to close in on Shaleski and France. And Stresky looking to the inside of Shaleski for the second spot. As Shaleski and France battling up front, white flag, 1 lap to go for Brandon France, Kyle Shaleski, and Laney Stresky. As Laney Stresky, she's going to look to the inside, doesn't have it. Kyle Shaleski now on the outside. They're going to be battling for the lead as Kyle Shaleski, he slides up to the checker flag. Your winner, the 38 of Brandon France. Second to the 17 of Laney Stresky. Third to the 2 of Kyle Shaleski. Fourth to the 42 of Steve McHugh. And fifth to the 01 of Hunter Corbett. And sixth to the 11 of James Butts. To the line from Dover, Ohio, the DeVore Auto Repair, rent-to-own, Amsoil, Paulina's Place, Allen's Muffler. Give a hand to your winner, Brandon France. As it is time to move into spectator drags.
So the spectator drags is going to take place. I'll here with our sponsor for this evening, Guest Motors. Here for Kathy. Well, thanks for being the sponsor of Midvale Speedway again. I think it's third or fourth? Third year.
We also have new vehicles. We have
So, I know a place where you can go. Guest Motors. Getz Motors is located where, Kathy?
In Carrollton, Ohio, about 1 mile of downtown.
Now our race director, Jason Anthony, used to work there on Correct. He's all on cars.
Hey, back up and get over a little bit.
And then the Chevy compound on the inside, rotating the mirror. And look, there goes Philip into victory lane, and he can go back to the front. Thank Coach Shields and the Mustang. My money is on the Thunderbird. And the Thunderbird and Mustang battling. That's a good race right there. The Thunderbird to the inside, I think if I bet money, I think I'd be winning right now. And also for your winner will be There's the operator found that pump is some fire. 18. And Chase. There's the GTO on the outside and Yoder, the Thunderbird to the inside. picked up 2 of these, possibly 3 already spectator drag wins this year. As he's going to start the back behind the barrel, Kiki was possibly the last one of the 2015 season of Atlanta. Had one here in a couple of weeks. As he pulls to downtown toward Victory Lane in the DTO. Your winner, Dan Harris. Well, congrats, Dan. We wanted to start at least maybe about a car length behind him and got him going into turn number 1. I think this is your 3rd win this year at the Spectator Jacks. I think it's your 2nd one with this car.
It's the 3rd one with this car, and he's time to retire.
I think so. Or you can build one and then just come down here and race for heat racing, maybe a feature.
Last time I did that, they kicked me out, so.
Well, it's a different year.
That's true.
See, I'm always right.
Sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Get a hand your winner, Dan Harris.
Race fans, this time by, get on your feet. Let's wave the fans off. 50 laps the distance for the modified feature. Wave them off. The drivers will wave back. Wave to your favorite drivers. They're going to go 50 laps of racing.
All right, guys, we're coming in.
Again, thank you, race fans, and thank you for coming to Midvale Speedway for guest motor night that features the modified and late model 50-lapper Ripley. Glenn Jewell, your top 2 as they're going to look to bring it in. The green flag for the first 50-lapper of this evening. Green flag over turn number 4. Green flag is in the air for Ripley and Jewell. As Hudson has problems on the first lap, and he's going to lose it as he's going to slide right up the track. And trouble already on the start. The 6 of Matt Hutchinson. The 6 of Matt Hutchinson got some contact from behind on the start. And then he went straight down the track, got into the 88 of John Ambrose Jr. And green flag off to number 4. Green flag is in the air for Ripley and Jewel. Good side-by-side racing up front between Glenn Jewel and Lucas Ripley. As Bailey, he's going to clear Allensworth. As Allensworth stuck behind Glenn Jewel, he's going to look down. He's going to cross in down to the inside. He's going to almost get to the back bumper of Ripley just a little bit. As Ripley, he's going to take over the lead as McCreary now following behind Glenn Jewel. As Brandon Bailey, he's falling back using the inside lane. Allensworth, he's trying to get around Bailey. As Sibla Jr. now on the outside with Green, they're battling also. With Glenn Jewel and Lee McCreary battling there for second. McCreary to the inside, Jewel to the outside. And Lee McCreary's going to take over the lead as Sibla just love taps the back straightaway wall just a little bit as they're battling there for 5th. And still side-by-side racing for 5th between Allensworth and Sibla Jr. As Green, he's trying to look to the inside of Sibla for the 6th spot. As single file with Ripley, McCreary, Jewel, Bailey, Allensworth, Sibla, as Bailey, he's still trying to look to the inside of Jewel for 3rd. As Bailey, he's going to put his nose in there, at least a quarter panel. He's going to back out of it going into turn number 3. Jewel, he's still sliding up the track just a little bit, opening up the bottom for Bailey at the line, side by side. Jewel trying to close the door, but Bailey had him by at least half a car. Now Allensworth. Allensworth's now going to look to the inside for the 4th spot with Glenn Jewel and Allensworth. They're battling. Allensworth on the inside. Glenn Jewel stuck all the way up on the outside. He's trying to get to the inside. Sibla now following behind him also. Sibla looking to the inside of Jewel's battle for the lead between McCreary and Ripley. And going through 1 and 2. McCreary slides up just a little bit. Makes contact with Ripley. And at the line, McCreary will be your leader. And McCreary, he's now pulling away from the 0 of Lucas Ripley as Bailey. Bailey's going to try all he can to look inside and outside of Ripley as they're all brake checking going into turn number 3 from Ripley as Bailey brake checks. And so did Allensworth and Sibla Jr. As battle there deep in the pack between Usage, Swaney, Ambrose, and Hudson all battling deep in the pack. And also the 46 of Slintz. He's starting to fall back. And the 27 is Swaney up in turn number 1 and 2. Caution flag out on the racetrack for the 27 of Braden Swaney. Braden Swaney looks to have a left front tire flat on the 27. for McCreary and Ripley. And the 11 of Eustace gets a little loose as Ripley and Green making contact going into turn number 3, and the caution flag will be coming out. "19 laps in, 31 laps to go." And coming up next weekend, not next Saturday, but next Sunday.
Grab it. Come on.
50 laps for the modifieds, as he's going to be going 40 laps next week as green flag is out for Lee McCreary and Bob Sibla Jr. As Philip Cox still battling there to the inside of Sibla. Sibla, he's going to dive into 3. He's going to clear Cox. As a little bit of sideways there for Wise with the 88 of Ambrose, with Kaufman to the inside. Now battle there for 6 between Kaufman and Ambrose. And the 55 of Brandon Bailey spinning up in turn number 3 and 4. As McCreary and Sibla going to look for the green flag off of turn number 4. Green flag is in the air for McCreary and Sibla. McCreary getting a good start on the inside, pulls to at least a good half a car ahead of Sibla. Sibla not giving up on the outside. He's going to close down and go straight down to the bottom. As Cox sits there and throw with Glenn Jewell behind him, as Wise and Ambrose battling there for 5th. As Glenn Jewell now starting to put pressure on the 09 of Philip Cox. As Sean Kaufman now looking to the inside of the 88 of John Ambrose Jr. As McCreary is leading over Bob Sibla Jr. in 2nd, with Philip Cox 3rd, Glenn Jewell 4th, and right at the line, halfway, 25 in, 25 laps to go, as contact over in turn number 3. Contact in turn number 3. Yellow coming out for the 11 of Usage and the 36 of Green. Happy birthday to everyone here from Midvale Speedway, and to anyone else that is celebrating a Midvale Speedway birthday. 26 laps to go in the modified feature for Lee McCreary and Bob Sibla Jr. as Cox and Joel battling behind. Lee McCreary is now getting a challenge from Bob Sibla Jr. on the outside. Passwaters, Sibla Jr. and McCreary battling up front. As Philip Cox finally gets around the 24 of Glenn Jewell for the 3rd spot. Philip Cox putting on some good runs the past couple of weeks as he's now sitting 3rd. As single file from McCreary, Sibla Jr., Cox, Jewell, Wise, Ambrose Jr., Allensworth, Ripley, Swaney, Kaufman and Hudson. Their remaining modifieds. As right now, Lee McCreary is holding a good line up front, trying to pull away from Sibla, but Sibla is still keeping him inside. He's trying to get the fishing pole out and get around him. As Sibla now going to look to the inside of Lee McCreary. Lee McCreary opening up the bottom. Lee McCreary is going to cut him off down the back straightaway going into turn number 3. Gutsy move by McCreary there as Sibla sits there in second. As Lee McCreary and Sibla starting to put some distance between them and third place car Philip Cox as Lee McCreary keeps on bottoming out off of turn number 2, slips up just a little bit as Sibla is trying to get to the inside. As the 10 of Kaufman, he's going to spin off of turn number 4. And caution flag coming out for the 10. Sean Kaufman spinning on his own off of turn number 4. Cox, Jewel, and Wise, your top 5. Going to look for the green flag. 18 to go in the modified feature. Green flag off of turn number 4. Green is in the air. As McCreary getting a good start going into turn number 1. Sibla not giving up on the outside. They're battling for the lead between McCreary and Sibla. Still side by side. Glenn Joel, he's going to try to close the bottom. He does on Wise and Ambrose as they make contact in the middle of 3 and 4. And caution flag is coming out. Gonna go green back this time by 32 and 18 to go for McCreary and Sibla Jr. Green flag is in the air as Glenn Joel love taps the front straightaway wall. As Sibla, he's just going to give up on the outside. He's going to just follow in behind Lee McCreary. As it's still single file, first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, and eighth. With 35 laps in, 15 laps to go for Lee McCreary. As Sibla not giving up all he can. Sibla trying everything he possibly can. Inside, outside on the 2 of McCreary. Looks to have a good advantage down the back straightaway. He had to back out of it going into turn number 3. McCreary seems to be bottoming out and off of turn number 2. Keeps on opening up the bottom. That time he didn't. As Sibla Jr. not giving up, trying all he can. As Philip Cox sitting there in third. Good run for the 09. As Sibla down the back straightaway, McCreary opened up the bottom. He's going to cut off Sibla. They both slide up in the middle of 3 and 4. As the 2 of Lee McCreary closed the door down the back straightaway on the 82 of Sibla. And Sibla hurried up and brake checked out of that. They went slid up the track just a little bit, 3 and 4. Sibla still trying to get the run. Almost had it that time. He got a little loose off of 2. As again, good run up front between McCreary and Sibla Jr. As Philip Cox, he's picked up some good finishes over the past couple of weeks. He's looking good, picking up another top 5 as he's sitting third. Lucas Ripley picked up his first career modified feature about 2-3 weeks ago. And then Bryce Allensworth picked up his second career modified victory 1 week ago. And battle up front between Sibla and McCreary. McCreary closes the door again. Sibla backed out of it. Sibla not giving up now on the inside. Sibla still trying to pressure all he can on the 2 of McCreary. McCreary slipping up just a little bit off of 2. Sibla closed in just by a little bit. At the line right here, 5 laps to go for the 2 of Lee McCreary, the 82 Bob Sibla Jr. As the show is up front between Sibla and McCreary. As Sibla gets into the back bumper of McCreary just a little bit. Let him know he's there. Sibla still trying all he can as he has 3 more laps to go. Two laps to go for the 2 of Lee McCreary and the 82 of Bob Sibla Jr. Jr. not giving up as he's trying all he can to catch up to McCreary. And McCreary spinning off of turn number 4. Sibla Jr. and Philip Cox going to bring it in with 2 to go. 48 in, 2 laps to go. Green flag off of turn number 4. Green flag is in the air for Sibla and Cox. As Sibla, he's going to take over the lead going into turn number 1. As Glenn Jewell, he's up in a little bit of smoke down the back straightaway. As off of 4, white flag, 1 lap to go for Bob Sibla Jr. And off of 4 to the double checkered flags, now single checkered flag, your winner, the 82 of Bob Sibla Jr. Second would be Braden Swaney, 3rd to Philip Cox, 4th to Bryce Allensworth, 5th to Lee McCreary, 6th to Mike Hudson, 7th to Glenn Jewell, and 8th to Lucas Ripley. Good modified feature, as the final 2 laps were pretty exciting. As again, coming up next week, next Sunday, September 6th, the main event racing series will be here at Midvale Speedway with the Big Motor Modifieds, which are big motor modifieds that run up at Sandusky, Lorraine. Then our crate motor guys can even participate in next week. Maybe see a couple of them participating. As he's about ready to get out from behind the wheel, the Bullet Fabrication from Masset, Ohio. Give a hand to your winner, Bob Sibla Jr. Over here, Bob. Over here. Well, Bob, picking up a feature win here at Midvale. It's your second one of the year, if I'm correct. Picked up a couple at Mansfield. I got to interview you there. Now I get to interview you here. I think this is the second time I've got to interview you. Well, last couple laps got pretty intense there between you and Lee McCreary. Lee McCreary got a little loose off of turn number 4, spun on his own, and then you just set sail. Cox was giving you a good run on the outside, but after that, you just You were trying everything you can to get around McCreary before anything, but then the last 2 laps is what counts.
Oh yeah, I like racing with Lee. He's been a buddy to me. He told me if I had any problems with this year running for this championship, I could drive his car. I raced him hard. I think we rubbed once or twice. Just like in the middle of the corner, I barely rubbed him. And it's that's the way I like to race. I hate beating and banging. It just costs us a lot of money. And I was throwing every piece of junk I could at him, to try and get by him. But, he just kept getting looser and looser the longer he went. It amazed me. I almost didn't get off the gas quick enough when he started spinning. I didn't, he was getting loose, but I wasn't expecting him to go around, So it's just, it's fun to be back in victory lane here. I won the first night, and it feels like that was 10 years ago. This is the best the car's been in months. So I got to thank my dad and Tom Ertl and his wife for, letting me drive his car. My mom comes and does what she can, and there's some people from Dayton that come and help me from time to time. They're not here tonight, but, I just want to thank everyone that helps on the car and everything they do.
So far with this, you're extending your point lead after being tonight's top qualifier, then winning tonight's feature also. But I guarantee you also have to thank your brother, Rick Sibla, because he filled in a couple of nights for you. He also helped you keep some of that point lead.
Oh yeah, my brother's a great race car driver. It didn't hesitate at all to put him in the car. It was more work for my dad and Tom. To have to change the seat out and stuff. But I also got to thank Mike Hudson. We broke a rotor one night in a heat race, and we couldn't get one in time. We didn't have one in our trailer, and he let me drive his car. It kills me to have to ask a guy to get out of his race car so that I can keep points. And he did that for me, and I really appreciate him and everything he's done too.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Give a hand to your winner, Bob Sibla Jr. And green flag is out for Passwaters Jr. and Moss. And green is out as Colton Ritchie, he's going to try to make a 3 wide going into turn number 1. As he's in the middle between Passwaters Sr. and Moss. Is he still threading the needle in the middle? As he's going to close down on the 44 of Smith, still running the outside. He's now going to go back down to the inside as Passwaters Jr. is the leader with Dad in second. As Ritchie now to the outside of Larry Smith. And not anymore, is Colton Ritchie's going to fall back behind the 3 of Kyle Grove. As they are single file up front with Passwaters Jr. leading, Passwaters Sr. now looking toward the inside. With Smith, Grove, and Ritchie, your top 5. As battle up front between dad and son, between Passwater Sr. and Passwaters Jr. As Smith just hanging out there in third. He's trying to find which lane they're going to go with, and Passwaters Sr. is going to take over the lead. With now Junior to the outside. With Larry Smith now going to look to the inside for second on Passwaters Jr. Smith's going to clear. Grove's going to follow. Grove now to the inside for third on Passwaters Jr. As Colton Ritchie dives it into turn number 3, clears the 28 of Orr. As Ritchie also going to look to the inside of Passwaters Jr. through 1 and 2. Off of 2, they're side by side for the 4th spot between Colton Ritchie and Passwaters Jr. As Passwaters Sr. up front leading, keeps on sliding up just a little bit. Smith keeps on poking his nose in there. As the 3 of Grove. As the 3 of Grove starting to pressure. Passwaters getting a close call there in turns 1 and 2. Grove now looking to the inside of Smith. Smith closes the door. Ritchie going to the inside of Passwaters Jr. As Ritchie now, he's going to dive it in deep going underneath of Kylie Wood. As Passwaters Jr., he's now going to fall back as she slid up the track. He's going to fall back. As Grove and Smith battling there for second. As Grove and Smith battling, Grove's going to take over the second spot. Grove's now going to have his sights on the 75 of Passwaters Sr. As right now it's 12 laps in, 8 laps to go as Bob Passwaters Sr. is currently leading as Kyle Grove has started to close the gap. Grove diving deep into the turns. Trying to get a good run off. Passwaters opening up the inside off of turn number 2. Grove now to the inside, at least up to the door. They're battling there for the lead between Passwaters Sr. and Grove and off of Ford. Grove at the line by just mere inches over the 75 of Passwaters Seniors. Seniors now going to drop back to second. As Bob Passwaters Sr. still holding on a good race up front. Sitting there in second as Kyle Grove is your leader. Smith runs third.
22, get up off the bottom. Leaders are coming.
As Smith sits in third, Ritchie fourth, and Waylon Orr in fifth. And contact over in turn number 4. Between the 77 and the 74s, the 77 of Moss has a right front tire. Kyle Grove, Passwaters Sr., Smith, Ritchie, and Orr, Passwaters Jr. and Baker, your remaining 7 out on the racetrack. As it's 5 laps to go, 15 and 5 to go. Green flag off for turn number 4 for Grove and Passwaters Sr. As Grove, Passwaters Sr. both going to look for the green flag. Off for turn number 4, green flag is in the air. As Grove gets a good start going into turn number 1. Passwaters Sr. on the outside. Now he's got challenge to the inside with Smith. As Orr and Ritchie. Battling Ritchie's now going to look to the inside. He's now going to go to the inside of Passwaters Sr. for the 4th spot. As Smith, his hood starting to come up just a little bit as Waylon Orr is going to get in the back bumper. Smith just a little bit. As Orr and Smith make contact going into turn number 1. As Waylon Orr and Smith still battling there for second. As Ritchie and Passwater Sr. still battling also, and that's over. As Colton Ritchie, he's going to pull into the fourth spot. White flag, 1 lap to go for the 3 of Kyle Grove. Second, Waylon Orr. Third, Larry Smith. Fourth, Colton Ritchie. And fifth, Bob Passwater Sr. with 6, TJ Barker. And to the checker flag, your winner, the 3 of Kyle Grove.
3:28:44. Stop on the backstretch.
Good job by second place, the 28 of Waylon Orr. He's also pulling double duty tonight, driving in the 11 truck. And also give a hand to third place finisher, the 44 of Larry Smith. Smith was on a little vacation last week. He went to Bristol. Teddy Oliver drove 44 last week. As pulling to the line, picking up feature win number 7. In the El Pueblito Mexican Cuisine, Greg's Recovery, South Philly Pizza, Stewart's Flooring, JD Byrater, CNAC Financing from Yorksville, Ohio. Give a hand as he can hear you now. Kyle Grove. Well, congrats, Kyle, picking up win number 7, 8. I think it's 7 if I'm looking at the stickers correctly. Well, congrats. Top qualifier again tonight. Been on good job past couple of weeks. Last week, stayed out of trouble, came home to a victory also.
Yeah, car's been running really good lately. I got to thank my dad most of all, and thank my brother. And he had bad luck, blew his motor in his modified, but he was helping me out, let me use the tire off his car, and he set it up pretty good for me tonight.
So who all would you like to thank on the 3?
Just them two, my girlfriend, all my sponsors, just everybody who's helped me.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Give a hand to your winner, Kyle Grove. As you can hear the sounds of roaring engines pit side. Tosh Oil Company late model drivers as they're going to go 50 laps the distance. Wave them. Wave them off. As they're about ready to put on a show for you, the fans. And thanks again for coming out to Midvale Speedway. On Guest Motors, Ford, Buick GMC night, 50 laps the distance. Green flag this time by Martin and Smith. Going to look for the green flag off of turn number 4. And green flag is in the air for Martin and Smith. 50 laps is coming your way. As Smith running the outside, might pull into the lead on Dave Martin. Dave Martin not giving up on the inside. Bryant Smith on the outside. He's using the outside. Mills is trying to follow along. So is Tedesco and Ripley. As the inside lane seems to be slipping up just a little bit. Bubba Smith, he's going to slide up high as Ripley was trying to close in but just wasn't. As Brian Smith's your leader with Matthew Mills in second. With Tedesco in third, Bubba Smith in fourth, Dave Martin fifth, with Ripley in sixth. They're battling now for fifth between Martin and Ripley. As Tedesco, he's trying to look to the inside and outside of the 4 of Mills. As Ripley, he's going to get around the 3 of Martin. Tedesco trying to challenge Mills up front. As Rosenberry's going to get around the 3 of Martin also. As the 32 of Glenn Golt Jr. just now trying to look to the outside of the 3 of Martin. Rosenberry diving it in underneath of Ripley for the 5th spot. Rosenberry up to 5th. As Mills is leading, sitting second. As Smith is leading, Mills starting to put pressure on Brian Smith. Tedesco sitting in 3rd, Bubba Smith in 4th, and tonight's top qualifier, the 2 of Alex Rosenberry in 5th. As Ripley and Golt putting on a battle there for the 6th spot. As Mills gets into the back bumper of Smith just a little bit, as they had a chain reaction off of turn number 4 that time. As Tedesco on the outside, Bubba Smith on the inside. And Bubba Smith's going to back out of it, let Tedesco have it, as Brian Smith is so far your leader, clean and green up front. As Golt now going to the outside of Ripley for the 6th spot. Battle for 6, nearest battle on the racetrack for 6 between Ripley and Golt. As Mills getting a little loose off the corners, Tedesco is now going to try to look to the outside of Mills for 2nd. As Mills now using the inside with Tedesco on the outside. Tedesco with a battle for 2nd between Mills and Tedesco as they're battling for the 2nd spot. Tedesco on the outside, Mills on the inside. Bryant going high entry into the turns, going low in the middle and then off high again as Tedesco now on the outside of Mills, trying to clear, trying all he can. As Tedesco is finally going to clear Matthew Mills and Bubba Smith, now looking to the outside of Mills also as they're battling. That battle's about over as Bubba Smith's about ready to take over 3rd spot and does. As now Rosenberry's now going to battle there for 4th now also as Tedesco's looking to the inside of the 1 of Brian Smith. Brian Smith going to close the door just a little bit. He saves it. Tedesco now still looking to the inside of the 1 of Brian Smith. And Tedesco and Brian, good side-by-side battle. Brian Smith giving him room. Tedesco now to the inside. Lap traffic going to become a favor. As Eichel all the way up high as Brian has to back out of it. Tedesco, your new leader at the line. As Brian Smith falls back to 2nd, Bubba Smith 3rd, Mills 4th, and Rosenberry in 5th. As Rosenberry was looking to the outside of the 4 of Mills a couple laps ago. As Rosenberry's again now going to look to the outside of Mills. As Tedesco is your leader right now over the 1 of Brian Smith and the 12 of Bubba Smith is the 2 of Rosenberry. Finally gets around Matthew Mills. Mills back to 5th. Good run 1 week ago. As Mike Miller, he pulled off early a couple laps ago. Troubles for the 53 of Miller and also the 69 of Eichel, he pulled off. As Tedesco hanging on to that lead with Brian Smith in 2nd, Bubba 3rd, and Rosenberry in 4th. Rosenberry starting to challenge the Smith boys for 2nd and 3rd. As Mills running there in 4th with Glenn Golt Jr. in 6th, Ripley 7th, Martin 8th, and Snyder 9th. so far, good racing action here in the late model feature. Close calls by a lot of them, but at the line, halfway, 25 in, 25 laps to go for Flying Ryan Tedesco. As Brian Smith second, Bubba Smith third, Alex Rosenberry fourth, Matthew Mills is fifth. That is your top 5 rundown so far in the late model feature. So far, single file throughout with the top 5 all coming off of turn number 2. Bubba Smith getting a little loose there off of turn number 2. Bubba Smith having his hands full so far in that 12 car as he's sitting third. As Rosenberry starting to put pressure on Bubba Smith. As Martin and Snyder, they make contact just a little bit down the front straightaway. As Glenn Golt Jr., he's going to try to get around the 45 of Hoop and Gardner, who is a lap down. And the 22 of Ripley, he's going to pull off. Off of 4, 31 laps in 19 laps to go. In the 50-lap feature for the McIntosh Oil Company late models as Flying Ryan Tedesco. So far your leader with Bryant Smith in second. And Tedesco. As it's 30 laps in, 20 laps to go. Caution coming out for the 1 of Smith getting into the back quarter panel of the 70. As it's going to be 20 laps to go, it's going to be Tedesco and Smith going to bring it in. Green flag off of turn number 4. Green flag is in the air. As Brian Smith, Bubba Smith, going to take over the lead just by at least a car length over Tedesco. As Rosenberry and Mills battling. For the 3rd spot, as Brian Smith, he's going around the outside of Snyder and makes the pass for the 6th position. As Gold, he's going to move up to 4th. He's been staying pretty clean so far this race, just trying to stay out of trouble as Rosenberry trying to use that outside lane on the 70 of Tedesco. As Rosenberry now looking to the outside of Tedesco for second. Battle for second between Tedesco and Rosenberry. As again, still battling there for second between Tedesco and Rosenberry. Tedesco on the inside, Rosenberry on the outside, still battling. As Bubba Smith, so far your leader as Rosenberry. Now looking to the outside of Tedesco. Still battle there for second with Tedesco and Rosenberry. Rosenberry on the outside, Tedesco on the inside. Glenn Gold Jr. trying to put his nose in there as he's running 4th. As Rosenberry breaks something and he's going to head straight off the track. And right front on the 2-car and caution flag coming out. Caution flag coming out for the 3, Dave Martin. The 2 of Alex Rosenberry having problems with the right front tires. He made it a good.
Something broke on Rosenberry's.
As Rosenberry, he pulled pit side as
Alright, line up this. 12, 70,
something broke. Seemed to have broke on the right front
17.
of the 2. Matthew Mills, Bryant Smith, Bob Snyder Jr., Gary Hoopengardner, and Dave Martin. The remaining 8 cars on the racetrack. Green flag off turn number 4 for Bubba Smith and Ryan Tedesco. Tedesco and Smith bumping just a little bit on the front straightaways. Tedesco not giving up on the outside. Bubba Smith getting a little whirly down the back straightaway. He's trying to hang on to it as Tedesco now looking to the outside. He's going to fall back, opening up the bottom for the 32, Glenn Golt Jr. as the 1 of Brian Smith and the 4 of Matthew Mills making a little contact off of turn number 2. As Golt and Tedesco still battling there for second. As Golt's going to get round the 70 of Tedesco for the second spot. As it's 9 laps to go, 41 in, 9 laps to go. It's Bubba Smith, so far your leader ahead of the 32 of Golt, the 70 of Tedesco, the 4 of Mills, and the 1 of Bryant Smith. As Gold starting to put pressure on the 12 of Smith for the lead. As Gold's going to try all he can to get around the 12 of Smith. And 5 laps to go, 45 in, 5 laps to go for the 12 of Bubba Smith, 32 Glenn Gold Jr., 70 Tedesco, the 4 of Mills, and the 1 of Bryant Smith. Mills getting a little sideways off of Forrest. He's trying to put pressure on the 70 of Ryan Tedesco. As it's going to be 2 laps to go at the line. And white flag. 1 lap to go for the 12 of Bubba Smith, 32 Glenn Gold Jr., the 70 of Tedesco, the 4 of Matthew Mills, and the 1 of Bryant Smith, your top 5. And off at turn number 4 to the checkered flag, your winner, the 12 of Bubba Smith, 2nd to Glenn Golt Jr., 3rd to Ryan Tedesco, 4th to Matthew Mills, 5th to Bryant Smith, 6th to Bob Snyder Jr., 6th to Dave Martin, 6th to Bob Snyder Jr., 7th to Dave Martin, 8th to Gary Hoopengardner. Exciting feature for the Macintosh Oil Company. Late models, good job to 2nd place, 32 of Glenn Golt Jr., and finishing 3rd, the 70 of Flying Ryan Tedesco. Good race overall for the Macintosh Oil Company late models. In the Smith's Auto Sales, Freedom Auto Finance, Finish Line Designs, Finish Line Motors, as you can hear you now, current point leader, your winner, Bubba Smith.
Good race, Bubba.
Well, congrats, Bubba. That was a race. You took your time, hung out there. Rosenberry had some problems. I think he would have been a challenger if he didn't have anything for that. Brian Smith, he got into the back of Tedesco, brought out that caution, but Brian did go to the back. I guarantee he didn't know you were anywhere near him.
Yeah, I was behind them guys. I seen Tedesco start to pull away there for a while, and I seen Brian start to catch back up to him. It was pretty surprising. Tedesco's been strong all night. I seen Rosenberry all over me in the mirror when we were chasing down them guys, and then the wreck happened in the restart. This Dream horsepower has been pulling me down the straightaways on every restart all year long, so just managed to get past Tedesco. Car was good then. The next restart, me and Tedesco down in the one, we made a little contact. I don't know if it knocked the toe out or something, but car was pretty bad. I seen Galt was all over me. It took pretty much all I had to keep him back there.
So, if you don't mind me asking, was your car a little loose at the end of those runs?
Yeah, I was trying to pick the throttle up early because Galt with that crate motor, he just got a lot of corner speed coming off the corner, and I just getting on the gas, and it was just a little free, and I think the toe was knocked out, so I had a lot of wheel into it. I want to dedicate this win to my grandma. She's almost here every weekend watching us, and she's in the hospital right now, not doing real well. So this one's for Grandma.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Give a hand to your winner, Bubba Smith. Also want to send a early happy birthday to Bubba Smith as he celebrates a birthday tomorrow. As it's going to be Schreffler and Clark on the front row with Bailey and Frederick, Moore, Van Meter, Oliver, Salisbury, Jayberg, Finlayson, and Ennis. Rounding out your field, first feature, green flag off of turn number 4. Green is out for Schreffler and Clark. As Schreffler getting a good start. Going into turn number 1 is Bailey and Clark now battling for second with Moore and Frederick there behind him also with Oliver and Van Meter. And Jayberg and Salisbury deep in the pack as Finlayson, he's going to fall back as the 50 of Ennis also back there as Bailey's now going to get around the 169 of Clark. With the 95 of Lisa Moore there in 4th with Clayton Oliver in 5th. As Frederick, he's starting to fall back. As he falls back, he takes the 27 of Van Meter with him. The 4, Salisbury, making some gutsy moves through the middle there. Deep in the pack as he's now to the outside of the 50 of Ennis. As Clark all over the back bumper of Bailey for second. As Moore and Oliver are 4th and 5th, as Jayberg now sits there in 6th. He's trying to find out which lane's going to be the best lane, inside or outside. As there's a battle there for 4th between Moore and Oliver. So far, Moore pulling to the advantage. Oliver diving in using the outside lane. Now he's going to try to keep it on the outside, going to try to take in at the line. Moore still had him by inches. As Oliver slipping up just a little bit. Oliver now going to have pressure from the 21 of Jayberg with Salisbury now to the outside. Moore gets into the back bumper of Clark just a little bit. As Oliver blocking the 4 of Salisbury as Jayberg slips up just a little bit. Opens up the bottom for the 50 of Wes Ennis. Now Jayberg, he's going to try to get back in, down on the inside. As Jayberg, he's just going to stay on the outside. He's going to use the outside to get around the 95 of Lisa Moore. As they're battling for the third spot between Clark and Oliver. Also battle behind him between Moore and Jayberg, and behind them between Ennis and Salisbury. As Oliver now going to the outside of Clark for third. As Jayberg right behind him. Clark slips up just a little bit. Opened up the bottom big time for Moore. Ennis slides up the 21 of Jayberg all the way to the outside. As Clark's going to go from third to deep in the pack. As Oliver and Moore battling for third. As off of turn number 4, 5 laps to go for the 24 of Brent Schreffler. As Ennis trying to push that 95 of Moore, trying to get her a little loose to get underneath. As Oliver still on the outside, battling there for third between Moore and Oliver, and Ennis wants to be involved in it. As Jayberg, now he's going to the outside of the 50 of Ennis. As Oliver going to take over a little bit of the third spot by at least half a car length. As Jayberg's going to give him a little push going into turn number 3. Oliver, he's going to close the door on the 95 of Moore. Moore and the 50 of Ennis getting in a little bit there on the front straightaway off of turn number 4. Jayberg now to the outside of Moore for the 4th spot. As Oliver is going to get split down the middle, down the back straightaway. Oliver gets into the back bumper of Lisa Moore just a little bit off of turn number 4. Now gets over into the back bumper of the 4 just a little bit going into turn number 1. Bailey, Jayberg, Moores, all going to look for the green flag of 4, and green is out. As Bailey using the outside, Jayberg now to the inside of the 46 of Bailey. Bailey trying to close the door. Bailey closes the door on the 21 of Jayberg. White flag, 1 lap to go for the 24 of Brent Schreffler. As he opens up the bottom for the 46 of Christian Bailey down the back straightaway. Also, Blaine Salisbury also going to look to the outside. 3 wide for the lead off of 4. The win's going to go to the 46 of Christian Bailey. Second to the 24, Brent Schreffler. Third to the 4, Blaine Salisbury. Fourth to Gage Jayberg. Fifth to Wes Ennis. Sixth to Britt Van Meter. Seventh to Kyle Finlayson. Eighth to Clayton Oliver. Ninth, Lisa Moore. And 10th to Alan Clark. Good first compact feature. First night we've went to 2 features for the compacts. Good job to Blaine Salisbury and the 24, Brent Schreffler. Both picking up some good finishes tonight. He's getting ready to pull into victory lane, picking up his first career feature win. First career feature win for the Gearheads Garage, Lincoln Welders from Louisville, Ohio.
Nice job,
he's getting ready to climb out, he can hear you now. Give a hand to your winner, the 46 of Christian Bailey. Well, Christian, congratulations on your first career feature win. I only think he led from turn 4 to the start-finish line. I think that's all that counts on the last lap.
Yeah, that's all that counts.
So, made a gutsy move there to the inside. Seemed like he got in the back bumper of Schreffler just a little bit in turn number 1. And then you dove to the inside off of 2. Then Salisbury was on the outside, making it 3 wide, going into 3. Next thing you know, off of 4, you're the leader. Brent Schreffler to second as him and Salisbury battled for second.
Yeah, I just saw the opening, took it, and I luckily made it.
Who all would you like to thank?
My mom, my dad, my stepdad, my Uncle Tom, all my friends that helped me on this, Gearheads Garage, Dot Print, Lincoln Welders, just everyone.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Give a hand to your winner, Christian Bailey. Is right now Bedard and Jayberg going to bring it in for the green flag off of 4, 15 laps of distance for the mini trucks. And Cordia, he's going to try to split the middle, going 3 wide. He's going to make it, and Bedard and Jayberg make a little contact in the middle of 1 and 2. Will be here presented by JD Byrider, the 75 lapper for open modified street stocks and compacts, and green flag for the mini trucks. As Bedard and Jayberg both getting a good start. Jayberg on the outside. Jayberg's going to pull into the lead as they're still side by side with Squires and or for the third spot is Derek Cordia. He's going to follow behind or using the outside lane, but so is Anderson and Leinard. So looking at next week's as Jayberg getting a good start, as Cordia sitting there in second, going to start putting pressure on Jayberg for the race lead. As Cordia now going to look to the inside of Jayberg. Jayberg closes the door. Jayberg holding a good wheel as they're all battling there behind him with Anderson, Varnes, and Leinard. Leinard stuck in a 3-wide battle with Varnes and Orr. He's getting stuck way up high on the track. And caution flag coming out for the 4 of Chad Squires spinning. Finish Line Motors mini truck says Jayberg and Cordia going to bring it in for the green flag. And green flag is out for Jayberg and Cordia, as they're 4 wide down the front straightaway with Varnes, or Bernard and Leinard. Leinard was all the way up near the wall as they went 4 wide down the front straightaway that time by, as Jayberg and Cordia still battling up front for the lead. As Varnes and the 751 of Bernard making a little contact there off of 4. As Jayberg is now going to get pressure from the 82 of Leinard for the second spot. Leinard to the outside of Jayberg as 72 of Cordia getting a little loose off of 4 as Anderson also following Leinard behind him. Now Leinard going to start pressuring the 72 of Cordia. As Anderson looking to the inside of the 82 of Leinard down the back straighter. They're side by side for second with Keith Anderson and Leinard. As Anderson now going to go to the outside of Cordia for the race lead. And Anderson going around the outside. He'll take over lead. Cordia dives it in deep going into 3. He's going to get a little sideways. Going to push the 32 up. Opens up the bottom for the 82 of Leinard. 3 wide down the front straightaway for the lead with Cordia, Anderson, and Leinard. Cordia getting to the back bumper of Anderson just a little bit through Leinard. Actually, Cordia getting into the back bumper of Leinard there through 1 and 2 just a little bit. Leinard and Anderson now battling up front. As Anderson trying to close the door on the 82 of Leinard. Leinard hanging on to that inside, not letting the 32 clear him. And on down the back straightaway, the 32 will finally clear. Joe Leinard there for second. Has 5 laps to go. For Keith Anderson, Joe Leinard, Derek Cordia, Cody Jayberg, and Waylon Orr. As Keith Anderson, so far your leader with 12 laps in at the line. And caution flag coming out.
Caution's out. Caution's out.
Caution flag coming out for the 751 of Alan Bedard. Looks to have blown. Anderson and Liner gonna bring it in for the green flag off of 4. Green flag is in the air. Green flag out. As they're going green with Anderson and Leinard up front. As Anderson, he's going to pull into the lead over the 82 of Leinard. As Jayberg hanging on to third from the 72 of Cordia. Cordia now under fire from the 11 of Waylon Orr. Or to the inside for the 4th spot on the 72 of Cordia. As they're still battling there, Jayberg hanging on to third is a battle up front with Anderson and Leinard. 1 and 2. Jayberg sits third, still battle there for 4th between Orr and Cordia. And white flag, 1 lap to go for 32 of Keith Anderson. As Cordia and Orr still battling for the 4th spot. As Orr gonna take over the 4th position. Down the back straightaway, off of 4 to the checker flag. Your winner, the 32 of Keith Anderson. 2nd to Joe Leinard. 3rd, the 22 of Cody Jayberg. 4th to Waylon Orr. 5th to Derek Cordia. 6th to Michael Varnes. 7th to Chad Squires. Good job to second place finisher, the 82 of Joe Leinard, and the third place finisher, the 22 of Cody Jayberg. As Anderson, he's going to pull into victory lane. The M&D Designs. Give a hand to your winner, Keith Anderson. Well, congrats, Keith, picking up eighth, I think, win this year. Past couple weeks, he's been driving Dusty's car. He's taking tonight off, it looks like. But after that, that was a good race. That was, I have to say, tonight has to be the most trucks we have had this whole season.
Yeah, it was pretty fun out there with all the other trucks running. So I gotta really thank Dusty for letting me run his truck a few nights this year. Working so hard trying to get this motor back together. I gotta thank Canton Auto Savage for selling me a motor so cheap so I could afford to get it back out here on the track. So.
Well, congratulations. Also, have to say good job to the 22, Cody Jayberg, as he comes home third. I know you've been helping Cody in them out also and trying to get that car to improve.
Oh yeah, he's getting a lot faster, and he's gonna be up here.
Congratulations.
Thanks, bud.
Good job to your winner, Keith Anderson. "15 laps, second feature and final feature of the evening. As 15 laps, as Butts and Heron going to bring it in 15 laps of distance. Green flag is in the air. As Butts had the lead going into turn number one. Heron still battling there on the outside. Butts on the inside, Heron on the outside. Battle for the top spot between Butts and Heron as they're battling behind him with France and Shaleski. Now Butts falling back on the inside. Gets a little love tap from the 38 of Brandon France. The 11 of Butts getting a little sideways. He's going to fall back. As the 2 of Kyle Shaleski, he's going to move into second spot with Hunter Corbett sitting in third, running the high lane. Laney Strusky, fourth. Mike McDonald, fifth. Can barely see anything off of turn number 4. As Heron has problems, Heron sparking up just a little bit there. He's going to fall back. He's going to go into the infield now. Shaleski, he's going to fall back. Ostreski and Corbett both going to take advantage of it using the outside lane. As McDonald's going to look to the outside of the 2 of Shaleski. 2 of Shaleski going to slide up, opening up the bottom for the 2 of 28 of Keller. As McDonald's on the outside. As Corbett and Stresky, your top 2s, as Shaleski and McDonald battling there for third. As Keller and McDonald now still battling for the 4th spot is Dan Bucky trying to put his name in on it. Still battle for 4th between Keller and McDonald. Keller using the bottom lane, getting a little loose through the middle of 1 and 2. The 2 of Shaleski opening up the bottom. Keller backs out of it. 16 of McDonald still right there as Bucky to the outside. As Lainey Struski starting to put pressure on the 01 of Hunter Corbett for the lead. As she's looking to the inside and outside of Corbett. Corbett sliding up just a little bit off the corner. Struski trying to stay right there with him. As Keller trying to put his nose in there on Kyle Shaleski for the third spot. Keller gets down in the dirt. Now he's got Bucky to the outside. Battle still for fourth with Keller and Bucky. As the 11 of Butts on the outside, 01 of Coleman's going to put him a lap down. 17 of Skreski, all right there behind. As Streski still trying all she can to get to the inside of Hunter Combs for the race lead as they're still battling behind with Keller, Shaleski, and Bucky. As it's 5 laps to go, 10 in, 5 to go for the 01 of Hunter Corbett and the 17 of Lainey Streski, 28 of Jim Keller, 69 Dan Bucky, 2 of Kyle Shaleski. Your top 5. As again, Hunter Corbett still opening up the inside for the 17 of Lainey Streski. As Keller and Bucky now getting around Kyle Shaleski for the third and fourth spot. And 16M of McDonald and the 2 of Kyle Shaleski making contact off of turn number 2. The 2 of Shaleski, he's going to keep going. As white flag, 1 lap to go for the 01 of Hunter Corbett. And off of turn number 4, good side-by-side battle with Streski and Corbett. And at the line, your winner, the 01 of Hunter Corbett. Second to the 17 of Lainey Streski. Third to Jim Keller. Fourth to Dan Bucky. Fifth to Mike McDonald. Sixth to Brandon France. Finishing 8th would be the 57 of Larry Ennis Jr. And 9th, the 11 of James Butts. Good job to the 17 of Lainey Streski, the 28 of Jim Keller Jr., and picking up his first career win in the 01 of Hunter Corbett. Picking up his first career feature victory in the Snyder Home Improvements. Number 01. This is getting ready to climb out. Give a hand to your winner, Hunter Corbett. Well, congrats, Hunter. I don't think you want an interview, so if you don't want an interview, you can just stay back. It's up to you. I'm not pressuring you. But congratulations on picking up your first career victory. You had to hold off a really strong challenger behind you of Lainey Stresky. I guarantee you probably felt her back there a couple times, but you know, she's a clean racer, you're a clean racer, you guys are going to put on a show.
Yeah.
Well, that's all he has to say. Congratulations.
Thanks.
And give a hand to your winner, Hunter Corbett.